faster than you think.
Calling the Civil Service Commission meeting to order for November 15th, 2022. All commissioners are present. I will hand it over to Chair Lindsay.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from the October meeting?
Yes.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Agenda item 3.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just have a few brief updates for you, nothing super exciting. I know I had originally requested that everybody knew there was an appeal today. That appeal has been continued until January. So just more information will be coming after the new year. You will remember we've been doing rule review all year. We have suspended rule review for the rest of this year. We'll start back up in January. Just too many vacations and people out of town for November and December, so we just put a pause on it. Hopefully I'll have some good updates for you at the January meeting. Just a couple other things. A quick shout out and congratulations to our exam and classification analyst, Colin Martin, to him and his wife who just had their first baby. Sorry, I wrote it down. Suzanne Grace. She's adorable. Congratulations, Colin, if you're watching. And you will probably notice I do have a new business item to cancel the December meeting. It is on the week of Christmas when we get to it. If you decide to cancel the meeting, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy holiday season and looking forward to a very productive 2023. And that's it. That's my update for the month.
Thank you. New business 4A.
Agenda item 4A, Resolution 2022-05, voiding of an eligible list. We are bringing forward a request to void the eligibility list for Court Clerk 1, which was established January 28th of 2021. The list was originally established with 160 names, of which 7 names remain. All 7 have been certified to the hiring department for at least one time. We recently finished a recruitment to establish a new list, and the test process should be completed this week. By voiding the list, we would be able to provide names just from the new list as soon as it is established. Municipal Court Management and Local 270 Bargaining Unit have both indicated their support for this request. We recommend this resolution passes.
I have a question. Okay, I may have misunderstood this. Did we have people left on that list?
There are 7 names remaining. Yes.
That's what I thought, okay. So I guess, since we're scrambling constantly to get good hires for the city, could you tell me when, those who take the test have to be interested enough to take the test. They have to do well enough to score in I believe, the top 10 to be interviewed. So then, during the course of interviewing, we decide we don't like these 7. Could you tell me who does those interviews, and do we let people know when they don't, when they're not hired? The first time they're interviewed, do we let a person know what their shortcomings were so that maybe if they come back for a second interview, they'll do better? Or do they just not interview well? This kind of bothers me because I know we got to pick the best people for the job, but if they've passed the test, then I guess I'm really wondering, are we doing a good job of making sure the people that we have in the city that are interviewing know how to interview?
Interviews are really done at the department level with the assistance of HR if the department requests HR assistance. I can tell you that all of these people that are remaining, the last 7 on the list, have all been interviewed at least once for these positions.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand that. but I'm still concerned that we don't know what the interview process is like. So we don't know these people that get turned down, are we, they took a civil service test. They went to the trouble to take a civil service test. They passed it. They made it into the top 10, but they can't get hired by the city for the job that they applied for. And I guess I'd just like to know more about that. I'd like to know, are we doing some sort of follow-up on that? And I don't know if that's HR. Once again, Mr. Piccolo, I guess that falls in your lap. But what are we doing these days? Are we doing anything to encourage people to make sure they know that we're happy that they applied to us, and we'd like you to come back again, because maybe you didn't interview well this time. Could we help you do a better interview next time?
Well, I would add that when the departments get the list, if they can pick from the list, there is some discretion built in. It's up to the departments to interview those individuals, look at their resumes. The questions that are being asked are usually vetted by HR first, so the questions are appropriate. The same questions are asked of every individual. Being on the list doesn't guarantee you a job. So there is some discretion built in for the department to be able to interview the individuals on the list and to make that discretionary determination of which applicant best performs in the interview, best meets the job. It can be challenging, though, if you start giving individuals who interviewed critiques and giving them suggestions of how to interview better next time. 'Cause that's sort of crossing that line into are you then coaching individuals over different individuals? That can be a challenging situation for the department or for HR to start coaching individuals after the interview of how they could do better, what they missed.
Okay, so if we don't want to coach the individuals that are applying for the job, are we coaching our own individuals as to how to be good interviewers? Do you think everybody we have interviewing knows how to do it? See, I'm still at that process that I don't know that we're doing a good enough job of training people to become supervisors, and that includes interviews, which have their own, it takes a talent to interview someone for a job, in my opinion, having done it a few times in my life. So I guess I'm asking, are we doing a good job of making sure the interviews we do are good interviews?
Again, I don't think it's the role of the department or HR to be training or coaching individuals of how to interview.
Not
And many times,
individuals, city employees, do they know how to interview someone who has passed the test? And we have them in here talking to them about a job. So, do you feel strongly, as the head of HR right now, that everybody who interviews for the city knows how to do it?
I think that'd be an impossible question for me to answer because individuals have different capabilities and they learn from doing interviews. The performance from one interview to a next can change, can be improved noticeably just from that experience of going through an interview.
I imagine there's some standardization to the interviewing process. It's not just willy-nilly.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I would agree with Mr. Piccolo. Passing the test and being on the list does in no way guarantee employment. Mr. Piccolo started with the statement that interview questions are provided so that each interviewee is treated consistently, fairly across the board. And I don't know if it's this commission's role to micromanage, if you will, the department heads in conducting interviews. They've risen to the level of department head through success in their own careers in their own right. And again, I understand what you're saying, Commissioner Gilmore, but at the same point in time, I've interviewed hundreds of people in my career as well. And sometimes they get in front of me and I say, how did you make it to me? Right? Because they've gone through levels, but yet something with me didn't click. And I've probably had that same impact on other people myself, right? They're probably wondering how I made it as far as I did in an interview process. So it is somewhat subjective with the hiring manager and the department head. And I see Mr. Kavanaugh is ready to address the commission, but I'll leave that to the chair.
I'm going to jump in real quick too, because I might be able to provide maybe just a little perspective on the process, since I've sat on both sides of it. And one of the things I think that's important to note is that when you look at, your point is well made, when everybody is short-staffed right now, looking for people, wanting to bring people on board. And so the bias, if anything, on behalf of the interviewers, when they bring that person in, they're hoping they do well because they're looking to fill a position. And so what happens a lot of the time is you get somebody in there, and this list started with 160 names on the eligible list. And so these individuals that were interviewed, there are times when you look at somebody and they didn't do anything wrong during the interview. They may have interviewed just fine. They're just not a good fit for that position. And so as the hiring manager, you look at that and say, looking at the team that I have, is this person going to be a good fit? Are they going to hit the ground running? Is their skill set applicable? And do they have basically the corporate culture to fit into the city position? And if the answer is no, then you pass them over and you look for the next candidate. So having sat through and conducted hundreds of interviews with applicants, my experience has been the same as Commissioner Holtz, is that there are times when I look at somebody and say, how did you get in front of me? Because I should probably be working for you because they're that qualified. And other times it's like, yeah, you obviously are a good test taker, but when it comes to looking at how you would take that skill set and apply it in this position, it's just not there. And so I don't know that there's a huge problem with that perspective. And Mr. Piccolo also mentioned that a lot of this process is if we give the people conducting interviews a good template, groundwork to build on, as long as they're starting off and there's consistency in that interviewing process, I think for the most part, I feel pretty comfortable saying that, one, people who are conducting the interviews want people to do well because they're looking to fill a position, and two, that those, as much as possible, I used to like to call them subjectively, neutral, where we all bring our own biases and everything else in it. But I think really the goal here is when you're looking to hire somebody, you want that best person that's going to fit with your team. And so I don't know these 7 individuals, but my educated guess is that for some reason they just didn't appear to be a good fit at that time. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kavanaugh.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, chief examiner, interim whatever. The actual issue that we're here for today is the voiding of a test or a list. In more than 2 years of doing this job that I'm in with the local, we void very few, if any. I would say it's less than 5 in the last 10 years. Generally speaking, when I am asked to agree or not agree with the voiding of a list, I look to see if it's an open versus promotional. I don't remember voiding a promotional. The open, it's how many people were on it to start and where are we now? What's the complexity of the position that we're testing for? And does it make sense? In this situation, we're dealing with, I believe, the municipal court clerk 1. And it has been a rapidly evolving area over the past few years. We reclassified both the 1s and the 2s from another classification some time ago. To have over 150 original and have a few left on it, it shows an ability. There's nothing to say that those people that are on that list that's being voided can't take the test for the new list, because they do. So I take a look at it and I say, As a full-time employee for many, many years, no disrespect, not everybody that takes and passes a civil service test may deserve a job with the city. That's just the reality of the workplace. So we do try to, on occasion, give management the ability to use judgment in those areas. If they've already interviewed them and not hired them, and we're this far into the system, we have a new list. It's good for 2 years now. And they're trying to grab the best and the brightest of those that are out there that have taken the test and passed it with a high enough number where they're within the area of consideration. Now, as to the question that Commissioner Gilmore asked about the interview process, I believe HR provides for those people that request it at least help in the interviewing process for certain positions. It's not just somebody that walks in and goes, I don't know anything about anything, and gosh, I'll do the interview process. Generally speaking, they've been talked about as to what they can ask, how they can ask it, and when they should ask it, or if not. So there is mentoring being done in that area, I'm aware. And with this being an open list, with truthfully a huge amount of people on the new list, I was okay with the voiding of it because once again, if the people are that interested in the job, they're taking every test they can get qualified for. And that's what I always tell people. Take every test you qualify for because you will improve your scores as you get more acclimated to the type of testing that's done and the interviewing that will be done also. So I don't see it as a negative. I see it as the department trying to get good quality people that will be able to do the work that they have to have done. So in this system, under that set of facts, I said yes to voiding the list without too much thought because well over 150 people, it's near the end of its time-wise, and we have a very active department that has a need for very capable employees. So, just to respond. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
I appreciate everyone's response, and if we are indeed mentoring our own staff on interviewing and it concerns me, but I appreciate all the response and the commissioner's response as well. So thank you. My question's been answered.
I would make a motion to approve the voiding of the list as stated.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Agenda item 4B.
Agenda item 4B is the proposed cancellation of the December 20th commission meeting. The regularly scheduled meeting falls on Tuesday, December 20th during a holiday week. We have no pending agenda items.
I move to cancel that meeting of December 20th.
Second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Agenda item 4C.
All right. Agenda item 4C, Resolution 2022-06, Classification Actions. We present one classification for deletion this month and one reactivation with retitle. For deletion, SPN 680, Assistant Food and Beverage Supervisor. The Parks Department no longer requires this position as they no longer staff their own food services. And the reactivation with retitle is Second Assistant Golf Course Superintendent, SPN 680. Parks Department needs additional staff for the golf program. SPN 680 was previously titled Golf Course Groundskeeper, and the classification was deleted back in 2013. At this time, management wants to reactivate the golf position with a retitle and revisions to reflect the level of work currently required. All proposed changes have concurrence from Labor and Management.
I move to accept the recommendations
Second.
Discussion?
No?
No, I have no
All in favor?
qualms.
Okay.
Aye.
All in favor? Agenda item 5, other business?
No other business, it appears.
Agenda item 6.
I would move adjournment of this session of the Civil Service Commission.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a comment.
Okay.
I was not present at the last commission meeting, and I just wanted to extend my congratulations to Commissioner Holt and just express how pleased I am that he will be staying on the commission.
Is that because I get to sit between you and Mark?
Affirmative.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Happy Thanksgiving,
Thanks, everyone.
everybody.
Yes.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.